So Antrim 22 points, Kerry 117. Antrim are the 2020 Joe McDonagh Cup champions after a 2 point victory over Kerry today. And what a win in the end for Antrim. Probably wasn't their best performance, in all honesty. I don't think it was the best display of hurling we have seen all year, but certainly for Antrim nonetheless. I think they done the hard work really throughout the group stage campaign as such, and in the 5 games they played. And look, listen, they came into this game as heavy favourites. Slight favourites, maybe heavy favourite is a little bit of a knock on Kerry. But I think, to be fair with Kerry though, they did put in a brave display. I don't think they were at their best either. They were very reliant on the short game. They reminded me of quite a lot of the way Wexford play, in the sense that they were way too reliant on short passing. They weren't hitting it long enough. You've got really, really top class forward in Shane Conway, and Kerry just didn't use him, unfortunately. And Antrim, the pressure that they put on Kerry's full back line when Kerry were trying to play that short game was relentless, and Antrim just consistently kept turning Kerry over and over and over, and they must have got 5 or 6 points today from turnovers in that area of the pitch. But yeah, of course I'm here with my reaction and my thoughts, so let's get straight into it. What's the story, everyone? It's Aaron here from GA Fan TV. I hope you're all keeping wonderfully well. Antrim have beaten Kerry 122, 22 points to 117. They have won the 2020 Joe McDonagh Cup final, and of course I'm here with my match reaction and my thoughts after this win. So I suppose first of all, what we'll do is have a look at the teams that took to the field here today. So we'll go with the Antrim team first of all. So Ryan Elliott in goal, you'd Phelan Duffin, then Matthew Donnelly and Stephen Rooney, who made up the full-back line. Gerard Walsh, Paddy Burke and Joe Maskey made up the half-back line. Owen Campbell and Keelan Malloy in midfield. Niall McKenna, James McNaughton and Michael Bradley. Dan McCluskey, Conor McCann and Kieran Clark made up the full forward line. And of course you had Neil McManus on the bench. And of course he came on late on in the game to really make a crucial difference for this Antrim team. For Kerry, they had John O'Halloran in goal. It was Brian Murphy, Tomas O'Connor, Eric Lean. You had Jason Diggins, Fionnan McKeskey, Michael Lean, and then in midfield you had Brendan Barrett and Paddy O'Connor. And then of course in the half forward line it was Michael O'Leary, Shane Nolan and of course Shane Conway. Daniel Collins, Mikey Boyle and Maurice O'Connor made up the full forward line. And I suppose looking at some of the scorers on the day, so Kieran Clark hit 11 points on the day. The majority of them were from frees. I think 9 of them were from place balls in total, I think. Conor McCann got a point as well. James Naughton, Noel McKenna, and of course even Neil McManus coming off the bench hitting 4 points. That point as well from the right hand side, I think it was from about 50 to 60 metres out, just a stunning point. And that was a point that when he just came on, it was literally worthy. It was something you'll probably see in the All-Ireland final. Just top class. And when you have a player like Neil McManus who can come off the bench and can make a massive difference like the one he just made, I thought he was phenomenal. In all honesty, he was absolutely brilliant, and it was huge for Neil McManus to get some game time, especially coming back from his injury. And he was fantastic when he did come on, and definitely gave Antrim that bit of an impetus when he came on. Antrim only won the game in the end by 2 points, and it did look like at different stages that Kerry were going to start to claw the game back. So I think for Neil McManus to come on and hit those points really made a massive difference. I think Noel McKenna was absolutely outstanding for this Antrim team, in my opinion. I think he was my man of the match personally. He hit 2 points, but it was just his overall contribution as well. His pressing on Kerry's full-back line when the Kerry defence were moving the ball out, I thought it was absolutely fantastic in many ways from Noel McKenna. When the likes of Tomas O'Connor or Eric Lean, Brian Murphy as well, when they had the ball, the likes of Noel McKenna just pressing them and really forcing errors, forcing turnovers. And that was one of the key differences for me that won this game for this Antrim team. Looking at some of the Kerry scores, so obviously Shane Conway hit 9 points. Don't think we've seen the absolute best from Shane Conway. I don't think it was anything really got to do with him. I just think Kerry didn't really get the ball to him enough. He even had to drop into his own half-back line to try and get involved in the play, and he was kind of playing a free role, if you'd like to say, to try to get more and more involved. And you've seen at different stages in the second half when Shane Conway had the ball more and more, some of the opportunities he could create, some of the things he would do, little flicks, little tricks here and there. And even that point towards the end of the game, not the very last point from the free, but just before that won the points from play was outstanding, and he's a top class hurler, and without doubt, we'll be seeing more and more of him as the years go on. But definitely good performance, but certainly, you would have liked to see a bit more from him, and I don't think Kerry really got the best out of them. I think they were set up too much to really stop Antrim from playing, rather than actually focusing on their own talents that they have themselves. Paddy O'Connor hit a point, Mikey Boyle with that goal as well, really well taken goal. Who done very, very well with that goal after Donnelly, I think it was, who misjudged the pass. Dan Collins with 2 points. You had Michael O'Leary with 2 points. Colm Harty, Podge Boyle getting a point as well. In total, though, Kerry had 12 wides in the game, which I think cost them quite a bit as well. But probably, in all honesty, didn't create enough chances in the game, especially in that first half. And especially in the start, the second half, I think Kerry, it was the 50th minute, I think, until Kerry registered a point in the second half. And, I think at that stage, really, it was always going to be very, very difficult for Kerry. And I think one big factor that really led to this victory for me, for Antrim, was just the sheer physicality of this Antrim side. Like, even when you looked at some of the Antrim players and some of the Kerry players, and you just had them side by side, like the Antrim players, they're big lads, very built, very physical players, and the Kerry players, in my opinion, are, they don't quite have that physical build yet. You have a lot of kind of young players in there, and definitely from a conditioning point of view, maybe it's something that Kerry need to look at. I know, obviously, very hard thing to do, obviously, when the Kerry hurlers have to compete with the Kerry footballers. So the Kerry footballers are always going to get the majority of the resources of the conditioning training in that county. But certainly it's something maybe Kerry hurling could probably look at some point. I'm sure they probably are. Don't want to be taking advice from me, but look, listen, Antrim, yeah, they just looked far more built, far more physical, and I think that was one of the main reasons why Antrim were just winning those 50-50 balls, the breaking balls, the loose balls. Kerry were also giving away a lot of frees as well, a lot of indiscipline. I think Kieran Clark, as I was saying before, I think he hit nine frees, 9 points from place balls in total. And the majority of them were from frees, and that was just a little bit of indiscipline in many ways from Kerry, and that was a little bit poor to give away frees in those areas. And yeah, look, listen, in the end, Antrim just had a bit too much for Kerry in this game, and look, listen, especially going into the second half. Obviously Kerry were leading by a point at half time, 7 to 9 points. But of course, Antrim hit, I think, 6 points without reply at the start of the second half, and were 7 to 1 in the third quarter, which was really the difference. It was always going to be very tough for Kerry to really come back. And as I said before, like, Kerry were set up very deep. They were set up to stop Antrim from playing, and in essence it worked. Like, Antrim, when you look at the score total that they've racked up throughout the entire championship, they've been scoring 4 goals, 5 goals. They've been outstanding. I think they scored 14 goals in total in the Joe McDonagh Cup. So certainly, they were set up, and I think Fintan O'Connor, that area of his game plan worked, but I think it was going forward that just let them down. And also as well, playing out from the back and the short game, Antrim were just far too quick and decisive and at turning it over. And in the end, they had too much for Kerry in this game. And full credit has to go to Antrim for this win. They'll play in the Leinster Championship now next year in 2021, and it will be interesting to see how they get on in the Leinster Championship. Look, listen, I think they're a good team. They have Neil McManus, probably one of the best hurlers in the country, but they do also have very talented players like Conor McKenna, like Niall McKenna, like Kieran Clark as well, and a couple of other players who even came off the bench and looked quite bright at different points as well. Even Connor Johnston, when he came off the bench, I don't think he scored, but there was a couple of opportunities that he had, and he made a bit of a difference. So they do have a very well-rounded squad, and you're looking at them going into 2021. You could arguably say they're slightly better than Laois, or maybe them and Laois are on the same level. Don't think they're a million miles away from Dublin. Dublin are going to be in transition next year in hurling, in my opinion, with the fact that that 2013 guard, the likes of Sutcliffe, Conal Keeney, Liam Rush, are all very much probably coming to the latter end of their career, so they're going to have to start introducing more young players, and there might just be an opportunity for a county like Antrim to potentially cause 1 or 2 surprises in the Leinster Championship next year. You could see how much it meant to the Antrim players, to the manager, and to everyone involved when the full-time whistle blew. Hurling is massive in Antrim, as is football, and that was just a huge, huge win and a huge victory for them. And certainly, of course, playing in Division 1 next year in the league as well, that'll be huge for them, really huge for the county, huge boost for the county, playing in Croke Park. And, certainly would like to wish them best of luck in the Leinster Championship next year, and I'm sure they will give it a really good go when that comes around. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up here. Do leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Do stay tuned for the All-Ireland final reaction, which will be out a little later on as well. And yeah, stay, have a lovely weekend, have a lovely Sunday, enjoy all the matches, and I'll speak to you soon.